Yeah, hi guys, Jason here from Robot Lawnmowers Australia. Today I just want to do a little video on my own two mowers. So these both little E1800 Lawnmowers. They're actually the two mowers that I have on my property, one in the backyard, one in the front yard, because I have a fence that I actually can't get the mower to go through. And the reason for the video really is that the one on the left is actually the one from my front yard, and I've had that installed behind a retaining wall or a front fence in full sun since it was installed, and I've done that purposely to sort of see what sort of life expectancy we can get out of these mowers if they're treated poorly. And it's finally had an issue on the weekend, had an issue where it's not charging any longer. So I want to run you through exactly what's happened there. It's actually just the charging pins at the front of the mower are no longer making contact. But mostly I just wanted to compare the two. So the one on the left, like I said, is from my front yard. It's been installed in full sun, so the charging station is actually in absolute full sun for nearly the entire day behind a block wall where it actually gets very, very hot. I've measured the temperature there in the middle of the day where it gets up to sort of in excess of 55 degrees in that little spot. And the one on the right is in my backyard where it's actually installed completely in the open but under a tree, so it just doesn't get the sun. It gets everything else, gets all the dust and the rain, just not the sunshine. The one on the left again on my front yard, it's only been installed for about 18 months. The one on the right from my backyard has been installed for 3+ years now. So just to have a quick rundown, so you can see fairly clearly even just from the shine on the actual mower itself. So I haven't cleaned these at all, they just come straight off my yard and straight on the bench here. You can see the one we're looking at now has got a very matte finish. There's not much shine coming off the cover because the cover has deteriorated and taken the shine off it. The one on the left there where it's been on the tree, you can see still actually has a shine. Once I give it a bit of a clean up, it'll actually come up all right. The one thing that I've been very concerned about over the last month or so, and I'll have a fix of it now, is that this one here, where it's been in full sun, you'll note that just behind here you can just see that this edge here is just starting to lift. And once that lifts enough, it'll end up breaking the seal under there, and the water will actually go through and into the circuitry, which is obviously pretty fatal for such a unit. The other notable thing is that the stickers, the yellow stickers that are on these things, like the handle sticker there, so you see they were originally yellow, so I said that one's 3 years old, this one's only 18 months old, but in full sun, so the stickers have all faded. The sticker there is faded. You see the yellow on the other one, the sticker on the side here is faded. The sticker on the top here essentially has all started to basically come up, so it's not hurting the mower at all, but it doesn't look very pretty. And again, the one that's been 3 years is still sticking down nice and firm. And that seal behind the mower there is nice and in line, and there's no issues with water getting into the unit. Like I said before, the reason why I've actually decided to do this now is just because in the front section here, in the charging pins, you can actually see one of the charging areas there has actually collapsed. It's actually a little piece of plastic that's actually broken off in there. And again, I highly suspect it's due to the high temperatures that it's been installed in for the 18 months that it's been installed. And the one on the right again has had no issues whatsoever. One thing that I have had to repair on this mower, again because of the high temperature, is that this stop button on the top here, I've actually replaced that I think about 6 months ago I replaced that because it deteriorated and actually allowed a little bit of water to actually go in through the switch. So I've already replaced that, and again on this one we have not replaced it for over 3 years. So I'll just pause the video now, I'll give these things a bit of a clean up and just give them a bit of a spruce up, and then we'll start again. Okay, so I've just given just the covers a bit of a clean up. Use a bit of orange cleaner there from Bunnings. You can see the one on the left there again, is still quite a matte finish on it. The one on the right has got just a little bit of gloss still on it, so you can sort of see that definitely the one on the left has deteriorated more than the one on the right, being that it was obviously in full sun. Now the other thing that I didn't mention before is that the other reason for bringing it in is that the battery now in this E1800 from my front yard is sort of getting fairly depleted now. It only runs for about probably 35 to 40 minutes at the best of times before it decides to head back to the charging station. That's within 18 months of installation, so that battery has failed in about 18 months. Whereas the one on the right, I replaced the battery about well, you could probably check this if you go back through my Facebook, because I would have done a video on it at the time, but I believe I changed it about 8 months ago. So it probably lasted about 2.5 years thereabouts before that one needed replacing, versus about 18 months for the one that was installed in full sun. So that's all I really wanted to go through with you guys today. Basically, the moral of the story is that although nearly all of our robot lawnmowers are fully weatherproof, can be outdoors in the sun, in the rain, doesn't really matter. However, if you do have them installed for their charging station in full sun, you can certainly expect the life expectancy of your battery as well as your mower itself to be reduced if it's always going to be in the heat. So the moral of the story really is put a cover over them, guys. At least put them under in a shady area, somewhere reasonably cool where they're charging, where they spend most of their time on the charger. Somewhere fairly cool. Maybe put a small shade cover over them. We sell shade covers here. If you have a look at our website, you'll see there's a couple options here, but they don't need really anything particular, just a reasonably cool shady spot to live. Thanks, guys.